Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you for joining us here today on this Week 13 episode of All Patriots Talk. I'm Mike Debate, and I am joined by Ethan Hurwitz. We represent New England Patriots on SI, and we are your co-hosts here on All Patriots Talk, powered by All NFL Talk. So make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, because you never want to miss the latest episode as soon as it's available. Pats fans, your New England Patriots trying to make it 10 straight, their 11th win of the season, as they host the New York Football Giants at Gillette Stadium this Monday night, 8:20 kickoff, and it's going to be a barn burner for the New England Patriots. A lot of injuries to overcome, a lot of adversity to overcome this season for the New England Patriots as a whole, but who would have thought they'd be going into their Week 14 bye with a chance to have an 11-2 record? Standing in their way, though, it's a Giants team that is a little better than their 2-10 record would have you believe. And we'll start there. First off, Ethan, how was your Thanksgiving, man? How is everything going? And how much are you looking forward to this Monday night matchup at Gillette?
Thanksgiving was good. Couldn't ask for anything better. Best holiday of the year, in my opinion. And it's a thing where real football starts after Thanksgiving. So the saying that Bill Belichick always said every year is that the season starts now. And, you know, if the Patriots want to actually really compete, it's going to start on Monday night.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to hear Ethan and I disagree with Mike Vrabel too much, but his take on Thanksgiving being like 3 or 4 in terms of holiday power rankings, yeah, we're not agreeing with that. But all kidding aside, we hope you all out there in Patriots Nation had a happy, healthy, safe Thanksgiving, and that you're ready for some Patriots football. And let's start there, Ethan. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball, obviously, because Patriots are going to be fighting 2 big injuries on the left side of that offensive line. Will Campbell, we now know, is on injured reserve. He will miss the next 4 games, eligible to come back Week 18 against the Miami Dolphins, so he is officially on the shelf. And even though he hasn't been placed on injured reserve, Jared Wilson, we know, will be out for this game as well. Declared yesterday or on Saturday by the team that he would be out for this game against the Giants. So you're looking at Ben Brown at left guard, and you're looking at Vidarian Lowe at left tackle. Not an insurmountable task for the Patriots to overcome. We're talking 2 players who are veterans. They're pros. Maybe a little better than some of the social media pundits would have you believe out there. But at the same time, they're not Will and they're not Jared. And the Patriots will experience at least some transitional pains, I guess is the best way for me to put it, as they're trying to protect Drake May. Before we get into the skill position players and the impact that they're going to have on this game, how concerned are you as a Patriots analyst and as a Patriots fan on a scale of 1 to 10 with both Wilson and Campbell officially out for this game?
I'd give it like a 5.5, 6. I think the
Fair.
Patriots have shown enough that, yes, injuries suck, especially when it comes to your 2 players that are protecting Drake May's blindside.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they've shown enough that they can compete, at least against the Giants, where it won't be a deterrent for them to win. I think that they can win this game, whether Will Campbell or Jared Wilson are in there, or Vidarian Lowe or Ben Brown or Marcus Bryant if things get a little hairy. There is a little concern just because Vidarian Lowe hasn't started all year. He was their main left tackle last year, was playing through an injury, was good in the run game, really bad in the pass game. And so I think that's where a lot of people sort of get their sort of concerns with Vidarian Lowe. Ben Brown played really well against the Panthers in Week 4. It is only start at left guard when Wilson missed that game. So I don't really have any concerns about left guard with Ben Brown. I think the left tackle position can get a little hairy, especially when you're dropping back and passing, because Lowe struggled with that last year. So we'll see. Maybe my concerns will get maybe a little bit worse at the end of the first quarter, and we'll see what the score is then. But I don't think it should be a concern. I think that the bye week comes at a good time for Jared Wilson to get healthy for the weeks after.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money. Look, I think bottom line for all Patriots fans when they're watching this right now, in terms of messing up the continuity, and we talked about this last week, how continuity is so important on an offensive line. That rhythm, that camaraderie that you have between teammates is very important among an offensive line, and you need that type of cohesive unit in order to succeed. I don't think anybody is thinking that Vidarian Lowe and Ben Brown are going to come in and ruin the chemistry that they have along that line. These are two guys that are professionals. They've played with this line a lot of times before, so they're going to come in and assimilate right away. So in terms of their strength overall, folks, as a unit, yeah, this is not going to throw off their chemistry all that much. But the one thing that you do worry about, especially when it comes to Lowe, like you said, and pass protection, is the one-on-one matchups. And there are a lot of guys that can disrupt this this one-on-one matchup, especially when it comes to Lowe. You know, Brian Burns has been talking a lot this week. You know, he's going to be just chomping at the bit to try to get after Drake May and trying to make things difficult there. The Giants have, I would say, probably an average pass rush. I wouldn't go too above and beyond, but I think they're a little bit better than their statistics give them credit for, especially with, Charlie Bullen coming in now and moving to more of a man coverage type and the single high safeties. It allows the pass rushers to get after the quarterback a little bit freer. So in that regard, yeah, I think there's some concern when it comes to Vidarian Lowe over on the left side. But if Drake May is able to neutralize that, he's going to have to utilize his skill positions. He's going to have to get the ball out quickly, which means either find his receivers or pass catchers in quick routes, try to rely on yards after the catch. And I think a big opportunity here is to utilize the running game. This Giants run defense has not been good this season. They rank near the bottom or at the bottom of the barrel in most categories. Defensively, especially when it comes to defending against the run. Ramondre Stevenson's still a little banged up with that toe injury. It's bothering him probably more than it's let on here. You and I run in pretty much the same circles, and I know you heard this week, Ethan, the same as I did, that it's still bothering him. It's still a problem. He's fighting through it, and he's a tough guy, but at the same time, when you have something as painful as turf toe and you're trying to push off every single rep, it's going to have its effect. So that may mean a bigger load on the shoulders of guys like Travion Henderson and Terrell Jennings. You know both of these gentlemen very well. Do you think that if the Patriots lean on these two runners this week, that it could be enough to help sustain what could end up being a compromised passing game with the lack of protection up front?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Patriots got a break because Kayvon Thibodeau isn't going to play. Their former first-round pick. So that's someone that their pass rush game is now going to be sort of one-dimensional. And they have other guys, but Brian Burns is going to be the guy. I think the running game could have a big game. I think it's something where last week it struggled. They didn't really have much to go for on the ground, but Patriots offense really kind of struggled for most of that game. It wasn't really a collective connectiveness in Cincinnati. So I think it's a good bounce back game for the running backs. I think maybe if Ramondre is not 100%, they lean more on Henderson again, but this could be a game where maybe they give Stevenson some touches in the red zone, which has been a weakness for them. But get him in the end zone maybe, and see if he can just sort of get back to his old self. I think the running game could be a big part of this game. Jennings obviously hadn't really been that much of a factor in the last few weeks. He could come back and do something, but I think that this could be a good game for Travion Henderson to really, really pop.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think it's going to be a team effort all the way around, and you may see the running backs chip in, and no pun intended here, folks, lend some chips, especially along Vidarian Lowe. One of the problems that Vidarian has had in years past is, again, matching up one-on-one from the snap and staying in lockstep and being able to withstand that. If you chip early and often with some of these defenders, it's going to give Vidarian a better opportunity to be able to stay on the inside rather than let these guys get outside, because you mentioned Brian Burns, even someone like an Abdul Carter, who's a rookie but has shown flashes of the type of defender he can become when he really steps into his own. He's already a very high level defender on this team, but there's another level he's capable of going to. And all it takes is one good game or one botched play one way or another that give you the opportunity to showcase your talent on a national stage. And these guys are going to take it. So, yeah, I agree with you. It is going to take a team effort, but I think Henderson and Jennings are capable of stepping up. Maybe Ramondre takes more of a role as a blocker. We've seen him do it in the past, and we've seen him do it with a pretty good amount of success. So that, to me, could be something here to watch. We haven't mentioned the pass catchers yet. Obviously, Hunter Henry continues to be the solidifying rock on which Drake May is building his 2025 church. Hunter continues to be a threat, not just in the intermediate areas, but his route running skills allow him to be a threat in the red zone. But you know the Giants are going to zero in on the tight ends, because if Drake May starts feeling that type of blanket coverage coming, or he starts to feel uneasy in the pocket, or he's getting pressured on a regular basis, he's going to go to his security. He's going to go to his tight end. So by taking them away, it gives the opportunity for a lot of these pass catchers to step up and be true weapons on the receiving end. Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams, Mac Hollins. I mean, there are a number of different guys that he could go to based on New York's defense and what you know about how they like to play. Which one of those names that I just mentioned, or someone else that I haven't mentioned, could be primed for a big game Monday night?
I'm going to go with someone you didn't say. I'm going to say Demario Douglas. Demario Douglas has been sort of left to the side a little bit in terms of the consistent production this year. And he's had some flashes in Cincinnati. He had that big play down the seam. People sort of think of him as this shallow crossing slot receiver. He sort of blossomed into a medium to deep route threat when he gets into the game, and he's running down the seam, he's running down the sideline. So I think that if they're blanketing Hunter Henry, they're blanketing Stephon Diggs, and Kayshon Boutte has always had that deep threat ability that opens up the defense. I think Demario Douglas could have a big game and a good opportunity to become what will now be their fifth straight game with a 100-yard receiver. They've had 4, the first time since 2018 that's happened. So I think Demario Douglas has a shot to be a big name for the Patriots passing attack.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and I'm so glad that you mentioned Demario Douglas, because this is a game where he can really showcase his talent. And great drop-in on the 4 straight 100-yard receivers and giving this the opportunity to be a fifth. Folks, if you haven't checked it out, Ethan wrote a great piece on that on New England Patriots on SI. Be sure to check that out. One of the best reads I've seen all week when it comes to the New England Patriots and what they could possibly do in this game as an encore for everything they did in the month of November. So definitely check that out on New England Patriots on SI. All the great work that all of our great writers and colleagues do can be found on New England Patriots on SI. But bottom line, I think you make an excellent point. This is an opportunity for receivers that are excellent at yards after the catch or gaining yards after the catch to make an impact. And Demario is right at the top of that list. So if the Patriots can use that, utilize their game plan, they might be looking at the opportunity to move the ball and get the ball into the end zone more often than not on Monday night. But you and I both know offense is only a third of the battle. And the other 2/3, the New England Patriots face some difficulties on their own. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Rookie Jackson Dart is the guy that is going to start this game. He has been officially welcomed back into the big blue fold from concussion protocol, and he's going to be the guy to get the ball at the start of this game. On paper, you look at it and you say the Patriots are going to have to defend Jackson by pressure and use a spy and try to be able to control him and keep him in purview, or at least keep him in a spot where he can't extend plays or hurt you going outside the pocket. If you're the New England Patriots, and if you're Zach Core and Mike Vrabel, and you're trying to get this defense in a place where you're going to need it in order to control an exciting young rookie quarterback, what's step one of that process of utilizing the spy to your advantage and keeping Jackson Dart in check?
I think just getting consistent pressure. Consistent pressure is when you have a quarterback that's pretty mobile, and Dart is someone that can really scramble and be a type of guy that can make second and third options on the ground. I think just getting consistent pressure, making him feel uneasy in the pocket is got to be priority number one. And there's going to be times where he'll probably slip out and maybe take one for 10 yards. But I think if you consistently are in the backfield and consistently are disrupting what the Giants hope to be is a passing attack, you make a rookie quarterback uneasy, and it's under the lights, and he's a professional athlete, so he's been used to this, but consistently getting under their skin is something that will probably disrupt both the passing game and his ability to really read what's open outside the numbers for him to scramble. So I think just getting consistent pressures from your Harold Landrys, if he plays, Caleb Von Chason, just getting people, Christian Barmore, to disrupt them would probably be priority number one.
Well said. And again, Jackson Dart is not only someone that is capable of beating you with his arm and capable of beating you with a game plan very similar to that which Ethan just laid out, but he's also someone that is very adept at design runs. Now, I know the Giants may try to cut that down a little bit because he's coming out of concussion protocol, and you may not be so willing to throw your young quarterback to the wolves, so to speak, in that nature. But you still have to be ready for it because that is one of the things that makes Jackson Dart. It makes him the exciting young quarterback that the Giants have been clamoring for quite some time, and he's stepped into that role and done a great job. So Patriots always have to be ready. Expect the unexpected when it comes to that. But I agree with you. If you get consistent pressure on him, it's going to cause difficulty for that entire offense. In terms of the secondary, obviously New England has its share of injuries there as well. Alex Austin going on injured reserve earlier this week. So now the Patriots are going to have to scramble to make up for what Alex was doing. And even though he wasn't playing a huge role on defense, he was playing a huge role on special teams. And Miles Battle now comes into the fold, probably going to take those reps. But the Patriots' core four are not going anywhere, at least for the foreseeable future, we hope. Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis are still going to be the men on the perimeter. Have Marcus Jones at the nickel, and he's going to probably, I would say, take on Wan'Dale Robinson. That's the matchup that I'm most looking forward to this week. And, of course, you got Craig Woodson and you've got Jalen Hawkins back there as safeties. In order for the Patriots to keep this Giants aerial attack grounded, which one of these secondary members needs to step it up? Or is this going to be a game where the linebackers need to step up first in order for the secondary to fall into place and kind of get into their own rhythm?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Christian Gonzalez didn't have the best of games last week, so I think that seeing him rebound, seeing him not get his passes thrown towards him could be a really good step in the right direction for him. I think just leaning on Carlton Davis again, and we touched on him last episode, and he's really finding his own in this secondary, and he struggled a little bit. There's debates online now if he's really bad or if he's good, and the numbers aren't just aren't siding with him. But I think this is a really good opportunity for Carlton Davis to really lock in, string some really good performances together. I think the one guy that you got to really stop is Wan'Dale Robinson, and you touched on it. Marcus Jones is probably going to be that guy. Maybe they double him if they want to do some sort of coverage. But he's the guy that was explosive last week with Jameis Winston. And he's probably going to be their number one target again. So I think that that's going to be priority number one for the secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And again, when you look at what the Patriots do well, it's kind of taking man coverage out of its game and making it work to your advantage. Obviously, the reason why I brought up Robinson is because he does remind me so much of a gentleman that you mentioned earlier, and that's Demario Douglas. Very similar style, very similar type of success. They find him with the quick hitters underneath, the crossing routes. Those are things that Pop really does well, and Wan'Dale does them well too. So it'll be interesting to see how the Patriots and Marcus Jones try to contain him. And if they do that, once again, I think the Pats have a good opportunity to keep the lid on this Giants offense. But let's not forget that this Giants offense is ranked only just a little bit below what the New England Patriots are right now. That offense is moving the ball, and it's moving the ball very effectively. Statistically, it's one of the big surprises. You don't expect to see a 2-10 team ranked as high as they do, but that's the effectiveness of Jackson Dart and the explosiveness of the way this team loves to start quickly. And that brings me to my final question for you on the big two sides of the ball before we get into special teams. New England Patriots once again had a slow start against the Cincinnati Bengals. This continues to be a problem. If there is one nitpick, and again, I hate to nitpick because the Patriots have really exceeded just about every expectation we've had this year, it's the fact that they are off to slow starts. And you want to see that turn around because that's not going to be a formula that'll work in the playoffs. The Giants love to start hard. They love to get out there and they love to put points on the board right away and try to put their opponents on their heels. Do you worry about that this week? And if you're the Patriots, how do you look to combat it?
Yeah, that's been their one Achilles heel, and it hasn't really hurt them in the grand scheme of things. Like, they've been able to come back and win these games. It's concerning though how long it's been going on for, and it leads to questions that maybe it's like a concerted effort by this team to like start slow on purpose. And I don't know how that would be possible, but maybe it's some sort of, we play laid back defense the first drive to sort of see what the Giants are throwing at us, and then we come back because we trust our offense. It doesn't really make sense in the grand scheme of things, but it kind of does. You're looking at it and it's like it's a consistent problem. So either this team has a problem that they can't fix, which would probably come back to bite them in the playoffs, or this is something they're really doing on purpose to really feel out the flow of the game. I think they start slow this week again. That's part of my prediction, but it's something really to look at because they just look like a completely separate team on both sides of the ball after maybe the first 7 minutes of the first quarter every single week.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I wrote about this a couple of weeks ago for us on New England Patriots on SI, where I actually compared it to Ted Williams back in the day, taking the first pitch and wondering and finding out what the pitcher had, maybe even taking an entire at bat before he really understood what the pitcher's stuff was going to be on that day, how the ball was going to break, how his fastball was going to zip, the timing that he was going to need, and then come back in a second at bat and just blast one into the seats, or, you know, really rock it back up through the middle if he needed a base hit or an extra base hit. You need to be extremely good in order to be able to do that with confidence, to know that you can take their punch and still be able to counterpunch, and that yours is going to be more effective than your opponent's. I think it's interesting if the Patriots are indeed doing that. This is a much better team than anyone in the NFL, including all of us here in New England that cover the Patriots on a regular basis, are giving them credit for. Then that means that this team really does have a strong control and a very robust confidence level in their ability to get the job done. I'd be surprised if that is indeed the case, but you never know. I mean, you know, Mike Vrabel assembled this team in his image and made sure that this was going to be the type of defense, the type of players, the type of system that he wanted to run. Maybe he just has everybody right now in place to be able to do that. I think it's more or less of this team kind of feeling itself out more. I think it really is a situation where they're still looking for their own identity. And it may take them a play or two or a series or two before they settle in and remember, oh, yeah, okay, that's how we need to do it. So I don't necessarily think it's purposeful, but I think you make a really interesting point that if this team is maybe coming into games a little sluggish and trying to maybe take a pitch or two, maybe there is a little thread, I'll say, of truth to that. But bottom line, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this Patriots team comes out of the chute. They're heading into the bye, week 14. If they can go in 11-2, that's a huge confidence booster heading into a game that's going to be very hotly contested at Gillette Stadium, which is the Buffalo Bills coming back in week 15. But don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, folks. We still have a very interesting and a very intriguing game coming up on Monday night. And normally we don't spend time on special teams all that much here unless it's a big kick or a big play. But Brendan Schooler, special teams captain, the Patriots' heart and soul back there on the game's third phase, is going to be out for this game with an ankle injury. Brendan plays such an indelible role in that special teams unit, and his loss is going to be felt not only on special teams, but also this is a kid that can come in and play, you know, pretty good safety if he needs to, when the Patriots essentially need to break glass in case of emergency. So his loss is going to be felt on a number of fronts, but we saw Jalen Hawkins come in and do the job on Sunday when Brendan went down and was not able to finish the game. How do you see this playing out? And is this a bigger loss maybe than it's getting credit for in some of the analysis you're seeing leading into this game?
Yeah, I think we touched on it last week too in sort of our immediate reactions, but I think if it's a longer term injury, that's more cause for concern for this team. But I think that the Patriots are well equipped. They got a really good special teams coordinator in Jeremy Springer that they'll be able to get past this for this game. And I think maybe this is probably a decision where Brendan can't go. Maybe Brendan's 50-50, and they're saying we're going to rest you up. You got the bye week next week, and then come back stronger for the last few games of the year. So, I think the Patriots have a really versatile team that they can slot in a bunch of guys on special teams if need be, and I think that's just going to be the situation. If we get into week 16, week 17, week 18 into the playoffs and Schooler's still not there, then it's cause for concern.
Yeah, very good point. And for anyone worried about Brendan's long-term health or how serious the injury was, I don't want to speculate on that because, again, we don't have a whole lot of line of sight. But the fact that he was making numerous appearances this week for the Patriots charitable foundations when it comes to Thanksgiving, making comments and speaking to the media, I don't think he would have been in a position to be able to do that if there was something more serious going on than what you're seeing. So, Ethan, I think that's an excellent point, and I agree with you. I think that right now, if it is Jalen Hawkins that steps into that gunner role for the time being, he's more than proven himself capable of being able to handle it in the short term. If this is indeed a short-term injury and Brendan is back after the bye, then I think the Patriots have definitely weathered the storm. But for this game specifically, yeah, I think it'll be a team effort. I think it'll be kind of a Brendan Schooler replacement by committee, the next man up by committee this time around, with maybe Hawkins taking the ball on this one for the majority of them. But again, they'll miss his wisdom and counsel out there. I think that's tough to replicate. But if you're talking about logistics on the field, I think they'll be all right. And again, wisdom and counsel wise, Ethan makes a great point about Jeremy Springer, in my opinion, as well, being the best special teams coordinator in the NFL right now, and the job that he's done in revitalizing that unit, which just a couple of years ago looked like it was in ruin. This team now has really returned to a very high level, and it's because of Jeremy and the coaching job that he's done.
Yeah, this is only also the second game that Schooler's missed in his entire career, and it's the first one that he's missed with injury. So the first one he missed was the last game of his rookie season when he was inactive. So he's an Iron Man. Just all the numbers point to that. So it's really something that I would be stunned if he did not play in 2 weeks against Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like you said, the Patriots are looking at that game with a much sharper, a much more laser focus than they will against the Giants. And again, that's no knock against the Giants right now. I'm not saying they're taking them lightly. I can guarantee you they are not taking this Giants team lightly. But that's a divisional opponent. They have a chance to deliver a knockout blow to the Buffalo Bills and reclaim a division they have not stood atop of at the end of the season since 2019. It means something to New England, and they want that hat and T-shirt game. Like you said a couple of weeks ago, they want this. And I think they're going after it, and they're going to do whatever they can to get it. So if they have to sit a couple of guys this week and maybe take one for the team, it's a smart move moving forward and making sure that that team that comes back in week 15 is motivated and highly, highly competent to be able to take it to the Buffalo Bills and hopefully hand them their second loss in the division at the hands of what we all hope to be the new division champions. I know we're earning a lot of negativity in Buffalo. If anybody's hate listening to this right now, but hey, you know what? To the victor go the spoils. Speaking of victory, Ethan, it's prediction time. New England Patriots, the New York Football Giants, 8:20 p.m. kickoff Monday night, Gillette Stadium. Patriots have a chance to get to 11-2 on the season. My question to you is, do they do it? And your final thoughts on how they get there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be sort of more of the same for the last few weeks. They'll start off slow. Now, will it be a 10-0 deficit? Will it be a 3-0 deficit? I don't know, but I think they'll start off slow once again. They'll find their groove. They'll win at 31-14. It'll be one of those convincing. It will be like the Jets game on Thursday Night Football where you give up a touchdown, all hell breaks loose on Twitter, and then they come back and settle in for the win. So I think this is a game that the Patriots should win. I think they do win. Drake May might not have his best game, but I really think the running game will have a big impact.
Yeah, glad you mentioned that. My thoughts exactly. I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of razzle-dazzle and a lot of predictions for that prior to this game, that the Patriots are going to air it out, or they're going to go unorthodox, or they're going to try to take the losses they've had on the offensive line and turn it into something positive with the passing game. I think at the end of the day, you're going to see a lot of the same type of Patriots attack. because it's worked well, and it really lines up very well with what the Giants are least good at, for lack of a better term. They're going to try to keep Drake protected as possible with the new, linemen, and I think they'll do a fairly decent job there. But you got to attack a Giants defense that's ranked 32nd in the NFL. These guys come in allowing an average of 157.2 yards per game on the ground. Patriots need to maximize that. Even if Stevenson is feeling the effects of that toe injury, Travion Henderson, Terrell Jennings proving that they are more than capable of stepping up and carrying the load. And that, I think, is going to open things up for receivers, like Ethan said earlier, Demario Douglas. And I think you're going to see a little bit of Hunter Henry in this game as well, continuing to move the ball when the Patriots need it the most. On the defensive side of the ball, there's still enough mass, there's still enough metal to withstand a surprisingly effective Giants offense. I think this is going to be a little closer than my good friend and colleague think, but we both think like-minded. I think the Patriots come out on top on this one, 24-20. And we'd love to hear your game predictions, folks. If you're listening to this, please let us know your thoughts on where you believe the New England Patriots will land when it comes to this Week 13 matchup at Gillette Stadium, Monday Night Football. If you're heading up to the stadium, please be careful. Please be safe. You want to get up and home, having a good time, and in one piece. That's the most important thing. And, of course, enjoy the beautiful sight of those red throwbacks that the Patriots will be wearing. Pat Patriot's going to be in the house. Going to be a lot of nostalgia, and hopefully the Pats can get a win. And if you're a Giants fan, the Giants are going to be wearing their threads too. They're going to be wearing the old 80s style Giants uniforms, which still love. This is going to be a really old school feel to it, Ethan. And for an old man like me, it does. It brings you back to your kids, your youth, and you do. You really feel that. So all things pointing to a fun one this coming Monday. But any parting words of wisdom or any final thoughts that you want to share with our adoring public before we wrap up this episode?
Yeah, I have some final words. I don't know if they're final words of wisdom, but the Patriots in the 70s wearing those red jerseys on Monday Night Football against the New York Jets, they won the game. They scored 40 points, and then the fans all drunkenly ran onto the field, ripped down the goalpost, and walked down Route 1 with it. And then the Patriots were banned from Monday Night Football for 30 years. So as someone who uses Route 1 to get home after the games, I just beg you, do not do that. It would be great, and it would give us some great stories to write. But please do not rip down the goalposts. This is not college football. But that's it.
Absolutely, yeah. Can you picture the goalpost coming down Route 1? Really. This stage of Route 1.
The traffic's already bad enough as is.
Yeah, exactly. That little cone maze that you have to go through. Yeah. And anybody that's ever been there, believe me, it's not that much different when guys like Ethan and I leave, when a lot of the stadium is emptied out and we kind of filter out afterwards. Yeah, there's still traffic problems there, folks. It does not go away anytime soon. And we definitely don't need the goalpost, ripped down. But and I'm sure Robert Kraft would appreciate that too. I don't think he wants to replace the goalposts anytime soon. Already enough construction going on at One Patriots Place. I don't think he needs any more going up around it. But you heard Ethan. Enjoy the game responsibly. That includes from start to finish, and respect the public. Respect the property of the New England Patriots as you do so. Ethan, it's always a blast. Always an honor to share the microphone with you, folks. Continue to watch your sharp eye. Continue to keep your sharp eye on our podcast, because within the coming days, we will be doing a simulcast, a live broadcast of All Patriots Talk. We've got some exciting guests lined up as well. So we're just starting to get off the ground here on All Patriots Talk, just in time for a prime Patriots run to the playoffs. And we hope you'll be along for that journey. And as always, you can catch our great work over at New England Patriots on SI. That's si.com/Patriots/NFL. Definitely want to check us out and all the great work that all of our writers do at New England Patriots on SI. In the meantime, I want to thank my good friend Ethan Hurwitz for joining me today here on this podcast. For Ethan, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy the game on Monday night. We'll see you back here next time on All Patriots Talk.